Today I'm going to share with you the most recommended bottle of rum in the world. Well, maybe not the world, but the most recommended rum on YouTube according to you. Throughout a few recent videos, I asked all of you to fill out a Google form to share your most recommended rums. The most recommended rum for beginners and the most recommended rum for someone who's already into rum. And I had about 1,000 responses. Those two bottles are sitting right here, hopefully, ideally, blurred out. I was thoroughly surprised by the sheer variety of responses, including some real quality picks, some picks that the snobs will look down on, and then some that I honestly had never heard of. But before I sorted through the list, I made some predictions for which ones I thought would come out on top. In hindsight, those predictions seemed like no-brainers, but the resounding consensus around one of these I was not expecting. So if you want to play along at home, take a guess for the most recommended rum for beginners, and then the one for the rum lover, someone into rum. Write it down or just lock it in, and here we go. I'm going to share the top 5 picks from each category, but I am going to include some honorable mentions here as well because I just think it's important. First in the honorable mentions, it's El Dorado 12. Quite a few of you picked El Dorado 12, and I wasn't surprised because this is the El Dorado rum that comes up the most when you hear people talking about Demerara rum. And for a lot of people, I know, and I've said this before, it's like a gateway into rum. Another popular option was the Planteray Dark, and I honestly, I don't have a lot of experience trying this alone in cocktails. I did a dark rum video, and it wasn't really towards the top, but I know a lot of people love it, obviously. They put it on the list. My friend Steve, the barman, this is, I think, one of his favorite rums, dark rums, for a hurricane. So if you have a bottle, maybe you should try that. Not much of a surprise with this one, but Probitas was also mentioned highly. You might be surprised though, because maybe you thought Probitas should be in the top 5 and it didn't quite make it. This is most people's favorite daiquiri rum. These are the people that are kind of like into rum, that want something that's bigger, bolder, more flavorful than your typical light white rums. So Probitas or Veritas, and yes, I went through the list, and if it said Veritas and Probitas, I combined them. And the last honorable mention here is the old faithful Hamilton 86, a Demerara rum that is 43% ABV, one of my favorites, one of your favorites, but not a top 5 selection for those that are new to rum. Moving on to the top 5. Coming in at number 5 is Smith & Cross. The Smith & Cross Mafia runs strong in this community, but I guess I should say this is not about me. This whole list is about all of you. I'm going to try to reserve some of my opinions. I'm a little bit surprised, if someone comes to rum from Captain Morgan or maybe Bacardi, and then you tell them to have Smith & Cross next. I don't know. Seems kind of cute to do that. But hey, it's your list. Number 4, Appleton 8. This is probably the most well-rounded Appleton rum that there is because you get a little bit of age, you still get a lot of character from the rum. There's not too much oak going on. So I came across a couple of 1-liter bottles a year or two ago, I think 2 or 3 of them. And that was kind of my go-to when the Appleton 12 prices started going up. It's an excellent rum, whether you're doing a Mai Tai, a daiquiri, or you just need some type of moderately aged rum in a cocktail. Number 3 on the list, another Appleton product. It's Appleton 12. And no, I am not worried about tariffs or increasing prices for rum. Number 2 is Planteray 3 stars. This makes a lot of sense to me. If you ask around, if you were to be able to poll everyone who likes cocktails, everyone who drinks daiquiris, and you said, like, what is the best light white rum? I think that for sure this would be the number 1 thing that comes through. Every time I've talked about light rums or white rums and maybe put a question out there to people, this one comes in as the top choice. It has a lot of flavor compared to Bacardi, but it's not quite as flavorful as something like Probitas. So it actually is a great entry white light rum. I know a lot of people think I hate this rum. I don't hate it. I don't even dislike it. I just think that people default to this because of things like this. Someone says that it's recommended or popular, or someone tells you about it and you have it, and then you default to it and you never try anything else. And my point of view on it is, from me trying a bunch of other light white rums against this one, I liked other ones much better. Now that could change. I'm going to come back to this. I want to do that again in the future to see if that was just something that happened on 2 or 3 occasions, or if I really do prefer these other ones. So these are things you should be doing at home. If you have a couple bottles of light white rum, is do a blind taste test. But the blind taste test doesn't tell you everything. If you like this makes you happy, keep buying it, keep drinking it. All right, the number 1 most recommended rum to those that are new to rum. Drum roll, please. Did you get it right? Did you guess correctly? It is, of course, the Funk. Okay, it's not the Funk. That's a joke. Just a joke. I know people love that, though. There are a lot of people I know that think that's the best rum out there. But the number 1 rum is, of course, had to be, couldn't have not been this, was only ever going to be this, Appleton Signature. And it wasn't even close. Over 3 to 4 times more people said this one compared to the 3 stars. And it is just, I guess it's what I would have expected, but I prepared, I guess, for how many people were going to put this one as their number 1. Now, the flaw of this list is that I asked 2 questions, but I did that because I didn't think I was going to get a good response if I asked you guys 1 question now and another question later. But I was surprised that over 20% of the people polled included Appleton Signature as either the best rum for the beginner or someone into rum. And there weren't that many people that put it in the, recommending for people that are already into rum, but there were quite a few. And if you total those together, it was 20% of the people who put down an answer, put down Appleton Signature as one of their answers. And 32% included an Appleton rum as their pick in the new to rum category, which is kind of crazy. Just shows how popular and prevalent Appleton rums are. Now it's the most recommended rums for those people that are into rum. So if you were recommending a rum to someone that you know was already into rum, what are you going to recommend? First up, the honorable mentions. Hamden 8 was not an honorable mention, but Hamden rums overall, Hamden Estate rums, were mentioned over 50 times, which is kind of surprising. I think this channel has a pretty broad spectrum of people into rum, whether you like Captain Morgan and Bumbu or you like Hamden Estate. But it was kind of a nice surprise to see that Hamden Estate was mentioned so many times. Another fun surprise were how many people put down a Claren. Now, there were lots of different kinds of Clarens that were called out, but just Clarens overall, which that to me seems like a very advanced thing for someone to be into or to recommend, and they're getting more and more popular each and every day. If you are unfamiliar with Clarens, they are unaged Haitian sugarcane juice-based rums, and they're all very different. They're a little bit more challenging to find than typical rums or even like a rum barbancourt, but if you can find them, they are fun rums to experience in the unaged rum category. And the last honorable mention is the Rum JM Volcanique. I don't have a bottle. I do have a sample that someone gave me. I'm guessing Arminder, but I don't remember. This is very popular. People are always talking about this. It seems like on the Make and Drink Discord, one of everyone's favorite rums. This is the only rum today that I happen to not have a bottle of, but that's not because I don't like it. I just don't have a bottle. Now to the moments we've all been waiting for, the top 5 most recommended rums for those that are into rum. Number 5, Worthy Park 109. This is an excellent rum. You don't really need to be into rum, though, to like this either. This is probably one of my top dark rums, and it can work outside of the dark rum category. Things like Karuba are obvious dark rums that kind of only fit into the dark rum category. But if I could only have 2 dark rums, it would be Karuba and then Worthy Park 109 because it is versatile and it's a little bit higher proof. No surprise by our next one because you're all a fun bunch. It is Rumfire. And this bottle, I'm not surprised, is recommended as much as it is to people maybe pushing the boundaries or limits on what they've already had in rum and trying something new and different. But it's also, I wonder how many people put this to be funny. Like, it'd be funny. Someone who's only had Malibu. Maybe next you should try Rumfire. This bottle sits on the bar here. And I don't entertain too often on the other side of the bar, but sometimes I do. And I'll tell you, every single time, out of all the bottles people see, this is the only one that always comes up when they say, "What is that?" And I tell them all about it, and I have them try it. And then they say, "Why did you make me try this?" And I always tell them because it builds character. I love Rumfire. A lot of you love Rumfire. I'll probably do more Jamaican overproof stuff in the future, but something I want to throw out there, I just like repeating this, is that when I did a taste test with Arminder at the Rum Revival for this, my personal experience was in cocktails that the Jamaican overproofs were very different from each other, but that Rumfire and Wray and Nephew in a cocktail, they're almost indistinguishable. And I'm sure some snooty people will disagree with that. But in a cocktail, I can't really tell the difference between those two for the most part. So if you can't find Rumfire or you can't find Wray and Nephew, you can definitely interchange those with each other. Number 3 on the list is Planteray OFTD, which stands for Oh Friend. That's delicious. This is very popular in pretty much every bar. It's high proof. It's not quite a 151, but it's a little bit more versatile than a 151 because it's a blend of different rums. It's a great addition to any cocktail that needs some pep in its step, a little extra boost, and it's just tasty. It is delicious. Coming in at number 2 is my old friend Appleton 12. It's become more expensive in recent years, pushing about $50 where I live, back from I think $36 just a couple years ago. But it's a 12-year tropically aged rum. It is a blend of pot still and column distillate from Appleton Estate. This is probably without a doubt the most popular aged rum, one of the most popular Jamaican rums there is. And I am not ashamed to say that I love it, or it's one of my favorites, if not my favorite rum. And I know nowadays, because so many people do like this and call it out in Mai Tai blends or just as one of their favorites, that it's some people might think it's kind of cool and edgy to say that it sucks or you shouldn't drink it, you should drink something else. No, you shouldn't. This is better than whatever they're pushing. And last but not least, the number 1 most recommended rum for people that are already into rum, it is of course Smith & Cross. Just when we thought we were done, they pulled us back in. I'm not patting myself on the back because I imagine most of you that played along with me at home locked in these answers as well. Appleton Signature and Smith & Cross. I don't know. There's not really much to say. Obviously, I think this was going to be the most recommended rum from people who are into rum because this is the one that comes up the most. When people talk about modifying a cocktail, they're talking about using Smith & Cross as something to give a little extra ABV, a little bit more of that, more funky, somewhat higher ester Jamaican flavor. It's been popular now for a long time, and that also helps. This isn't a new rum. This has been out for, I don't know how long, well over a decade. So that helps with its popularity. And it just goes to show the popularity, really, of Jamaican rums. I'm not saying that they should be the most popular rums out there or recommended rums, but they are, to me, those are always my favorite. I'm always going to gravitate back towards Jamaican rums if I have the option. Overall, I am not surprised by the results, but I am by the sheer differences in the responses. It was a broad spectrum from expensive to inexpensive, hard to find bottles to ones you can find pretty much everywhere. I am not at all surprised by these 2 selections. These were the ones I thought would come out on top because that's been my experience from talking to a lot of you in person or in comments in Discord. And these are probably 2 bottles I would have recommended myself to someone who was either new to rum or had kind of been into rum and looking to expand beyond Appleton Signature. If someone who had never really bought rum before, and this question has come to me many times, and they wanted to make Mai Tais, I wouldn't tell them to go get a bottle of Rumfire or the El Dorado High Ester. I would tell them to get a bottle of Appleton Signature, and I think most of you would probably do the same thing. Now, this was just for fun. An idea that spawned from this question being in my head and realizing that if you ask Google or ChatGPT or anyone else, they were going to give you a bad answer. Because if you asked everyone out there in the world, they probably would recommend this one or a spiced version of this. Because most people aren't like those of you that are watching this or those of you that responded. People that are really into rum in cocktails, and they're going to respond with what they know, which would probably be Bacardi or Captain Morgan. But I do want to say and really drive home this point, that just because something is recommended or popular doesn't mean that you need to like it or love it or run out and get a bottle of it. Just because the one you recommended wasn't in the top 5 doesn't make it bad. Rum is cool because there are so many options. Alternatives are great, lists are great, opinions are fun, and expanding your options with alternatives is great. There's nothing wrong with that. But anytime you come across someone who says that you shouldn't be drinking something and should be drinking something else instead, and they get there by belittling something or someone else, then screw them. Whether they look down on you for drinking a tequila in your margarita that might contain an additive, God forbid, a rum might have added sugar in it, or a specific brand of rum is not cool enough. Don't listen to them. They're probably shilling for this thing that they're pretending to love, or they're just an asshole. So that is it for this one. The 2 most recommended rums in the world. They're sitting right here. So thanks to everyone who responded. You enjoyed this video, please give it a like below, consider subscribing, share this video with your friends and family. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next one.